Hey Queens, welcome back to Women Unleash. And today we'll be rounding up our amazing journey, which is our month 8, where we've been talking about inspiration, influence, and legacy. And today we'll be talking about building legacy. Building legacy. And some of us will be thinking, why do we need to talk about that now? I'm not at the end of my life. I'm not in my 80s or in my 90s. But sweetheart, legacy is not what you do in future. Legacy is what you do now. It's what the life you're building, what you're doing now, how you're acting, how you're affecting lives, or you're touching people. Remember last week we talked about giving back and service, and that's one of the things. How have you been serving people? What seeds have you been planting in the life of people, in your family, in your community, in your places of work, in your places of engagement? What seeds have you been planting? What will people remember you for? What are people even saying about you at present? What is your legacy? What have you been sowing in those places where you've been? And this reminds me of a story in the Bible about the lady Tabitha in the book of Acts, also called Dorcas. My goodness, she did not just live as a mother, as a wife. I can't even remember if she was a mother, wife, but people talked about how she served in her community. Wherever you find yourself, that is your ministry. That is where you need to be serving. You don't need to wait until you get a big platform for you to showcase the grace of God upon your life, for you to be able to impact life. She sewed for the widows, for the poor. She was a charitable person. She went all out using her time and money and resources to bless others that were less privileged. And that's what we said last week. Speak it out, giving in our service and working, serving those that, that will have been called like an outcast. That's what she was doing. And when there was an untimely death, my God, people rose and they were talking about how she's been a blessing to their life, to their community, and they were saying this woman cannot go, and that alone moved Peter to pray, and God heard, and God brought her back to life. Yes, many of us might not be brought back to life when our time comes, but that speaks volume. That speaks volume. What are you doing in the space that you're in at the moment? What will your children say about you? What are they even saying about you? Are you living what you're saying? Are you affecting lives? Are you giving back to the society? Are you giving back, to the people around you, to your community? What will be said about you at the end and what is being said? So legacy is what we do now, what we are building, how you're building your life and your destiny. And that brings us to a few of our focus points. It said, live your legacy daily. Every action plants a seed for eternity. So what you're doing now, how you're treating people, is going to reflect years to come. When people stand on the podium, they're going to give praises about you. Have you not heard people giving tribute, even on people's birthday? And you hear, people saying things. It's not just positive things they say. I've read about, one of the CEOs that was retired, and people wrote so much, on the social media. And many people were writing good things, and people talked about also the negative things about him, and that actually drew more attention, and so many people were going towards that direction to say, no, yeah, this was one big part of this person's life. I'm not saying we are perfect. We are all work in progress. We want to be better than our yesterday, but we want to make sure that we are leaving mark in the sands of life. So refrain. Legacy is deeply personal. It's not defined by comparison. In this group, obviously, do not compare yourself with others. Compare yourself with what you were yesterday, because we're women of excellence. We want to be better than where we were before. It is not measured by popularity. It is defined by impact. What impact are you making in the space that you have been given? Do you want to live love where there is distance? Do you want to live wisdom where there is confusion? Are you the type of person that adds fuel to it when there is problem? Or are you the type of person that people can call, a peacemaker? When there is trouble, When there is trouble, just call on Buki. She knows how to handle the situation. Or are you the one that when the result, don't even let Buki hear about it? She's going to, add fault to what is going on. Is that the kind of legacy you want to leave? We've got 3 points. So one of the points I said in our focus, I said, I can't read my own writing. I said, integrate grace and virtue into your next season. What is grace? Grace, grace, as we said, as already, carry the way we carry ourselves, the way we respond, and the virtue, is living unapologetically. So live gracefully, live, unapologetically. Make sure you're truthful. Make sure you're not just confident, but you're truthful. You're a woman of integrity, a woman of great credibility in whatever you do. That when people want to talk about you, like the lady I talked about last week, she's humility personified, and that's what one of the things I'm going to remember her for, and that's what one of the things I keep bring up. Remembering about us. I said legacy is built when this too becomes your lifestyle, not occasionally, not when it's convenient, but when you need to be consistent. And in this group we talk about consistency so much. A graceful woman is an authentic woman. You will live authentically. Your yes is yes, your no is no. You will be able to stand to defend whatever you say. Live your life. Let there not be a stain. Obviously we will make mistake. When you make mistake, or you stand up and say something that is not true, or you act out of character, quickly, if you're if you're person of that have got great credibility, when you act out of character, in your spirit that you've done something that is not right. Take ownership of it. Go back to the person, apologize, for that mistake, retrace your step and carry on living. It's best to correct your mistake. You don't wait till the end to try to correct it, because you want to be remembered, and you want people to keep remembering you for being, a trustworthy person, for being a person that stands for truth, for being a woman of integrity and of great character. Thirdly, I said, write a legacy vision statement about yourself. What do you want people to say about you? What do you want to be remembered for when your time comes, when your curtain of your life closes? What would you like to be remembered for? That's a big question. Even when you're going to celebrate your birthday and people want to climb up the stage, or your wedding day, or your day of great accomplishment, what will you like people to say about you? What will you like to hear about you? Few weeks ago, I was asking my children, okay, what are, the things that, obviously, because we are just had bereavement and buried that granddad. So I was asking, so what will you want to say about me when I die? Or what are the things that stands out about me that you think that has been a blessing to you? And my little one said, Mommy, when you're praying and you close your eyes, we're all in trouble because you never stop. You just carry on praying. And you never miss to say nothing missing, nothing broken. And I looked and I noticed that over time, he's always added that to his prayer, because a while ago, he asked me what it actually meant, and I went into the book of Job and I explained, to him the meaning of what, nothing missing, nothing broken, because it talks about allness, that, nothing was going to be found missing in their properties, and nothing was going to be broken. And so he put it in his prayers too, and he prays that, today, thank you, Jesus, because nothing was broken in our life, nothing was missing, or if I say tomorrow, nothing will be missing, nothing will be broken. And that is strength, that is allness that you're speaking into your life and to your destiny. And that touched me. The fact that, because one of the things I want to be remembered for, and one of the things I want my children to carry on is, that, I'm raising children that speak the truth, that stand for the truth, godly children with godly characters, children that walk in excellence, not perfection. They're getting better every day in their walk with God, in their academics, in their secular work, in a relationship with people in the community, the relationship with people outside. A lot of people that most of all, trust in God and know that, once you put everything in God's hand and you do your own part, the sky is your limit. And that really meant a lot to me, that she knows that, I'm a woman of prayers, and I'm a woman that always just, depends on God. I don't know what you're thinking of. I don't know what you want to be remembered for, but this is the time for you to begin to think about the marks you want to leave. Some of us have been leaving signs that you have not even been aware of, but there are things that people have been saying that have been consistent with, with oppressing with your brand. This is the time to be conscious of the marks that you want to leave. Nobody knows the day, the time, or the hour when our curtains will be closed. Our desire is to live life in fullness and fulfill destiny. But you don't know how many years that you've signed. You don't know how many years that you've been called to live. If you're going to live 30 years, are those 30 years going to be years of impact, years of transforming other people's lives, years of sowing and pouring into people, years of impacting generation, years of, transforming lives that come across your path? Or they're going to be years, of destroying people that come up, across your path, years of bringing people down, years of, thinking you're much better than every other person. This is the time, sweetheart, to begin to write your own story. You can write your own tribute. You can write what you want to be said about you. Don't wait till when the curtain is closed and it's too late for you to write. So, sweetheart, as we go this week, and as we round up this month, let it be your daily practice. Legacy is not a distant destination. It is your daily practice. It is in your consistency. It is in your integrity. It is in your courage to live aligned, even when it is not easy. Stay true to yourself. Don't diminish. Don't dim your life for anyone, okay? Live intentionally, love deeply, live boldly. And remember, that you're writing your own legacy. Remember that every action, every word, everything you do, you're writing your own, your own legacy. You have discovered your purpose. You have discovered your goals. You're walking towards, achieving all that God has created it to be. But what will be said at the end of the day? What will you leave in the sands of life? Until I see you next week, stay blessed. Keep unleashing your greatness. And remember that the sky is your starting point. Love you.